the Gap. Episode 13, Part 1. Through the eyes of our loved ones. Learning to let each other change. Am I seeing who you are now? Or am I still seeing who you were? Welcome back to Bridging the Gap. Understanding both sides. One goal, healing. I'm Christina Fox. We're getting close to the end of the series. And after everything we've talked about, boundaries, relapse,
shame, control,
communication,
lying,
forgiveness, there's something else we have to talk about before we can truly begin rebuilding. And that is change. Not just whether the person we love can change, but whether we can allow ourselves to see that change when it happens. Because after spending years learning how to survive someone's addiction, sometimes we become really good at recognizing the person they were. So good that we may have trouble recognizing the person they're becoming. And I understand why. We learned to pay attention, learned what certain behaviors meant, learned that sometimes what looked innocent wasn't. And we have learned not to ignore our instincts. Those lessons protected us. But what happens when the person in front of us really does begin changing? Can we change with them? At some point, we have to let them live. Because after spending so much time watching, waiting, checking, and preparing ourselves for what might happen next, hypervigilance can become a way of life. Even when things begin getting better, we may still be watching every mood, every decision, every change in behavior, trying to determine, is something wrong? Is this a warning sign? Are we headed back there again? But we cannot live there forever, and neither can they. At some point, we have to allow the adults we love to be adults. They're going to make decisions we wouldn't make. They're going to make mistakes. They're going to have bad days. They're going to choose relationships, jobs, friendships, and paths we may not agree with. And not every bad decision means addiction is returning. Sometimes, it's simply an adult making a mistake. Just like we do. Their mistakes belong to them. Ours belong to us. Their consequences belong to them. And our responsibility is learning what belongs to us and what doesn't. I cannot prevent every mistake you might make. And if I spend my life trying, I'm right back where I started. Trying to control something that was never mine to control. I can love you. I can support healthy choices. I can speak up when something genuinely concerns me. I can keep my boundaries. But I also have to let you live your life. Because your recovery cannot become my new addiction. I don't want to spend the rest of my life monitoring whether you're okay. I want to learn how to be okay too. And maybe part of letting you change is trusting myself enough to know that if something does happen, I'll deal with it then. I can't live tomorrow's crisis today. Right now, I can love the person standing in front of me and let them live. We can't ask someone to change and then refuse to see them differently. Think about that. For years, we may have said, please get help. Please stop using. Please change your life. Please take responsibility. Please do something different. And then maybe they finally do. Not perfectly. Not overnight. But we begin seeing it. They're showing up. They're becoming responsible. They're communicating differently. They're respecting boundaries. They're making healthier decisions. They're beginning to build a life. And if every time they make a mistake we say,
see,
you're still the same, what are we actually asking them to become? Because change needs room to exist. That doesn't mean pretending. It doesn't mean ignoring warning signs. It means allowing today's behavior to have a voice too. Sometimes we keep bringing the old person into the new conversation. We've talked before about not using someone's past as a weapon. But this goes a little deeper. Sometimes we're not intentionally trying to hurt them. We're simply so accustomed to who they were during addiction that we keep expecting that person to show up. So we're already prepared for the lie
before they speak.
Prepared for the disappointment before anything happens. Prepared for the relapse before there is one. Prepared for the crisis during a perfectly normal day. And without realizing it, we may be having a relationship with our memory of them instead of the person standing in front of us. That's not fair to them. But honestly, it's not fair to us either, because then addiction is still controlling the relationship, even when addiction isn't currently in the room. And we have changed too. Sometimes we spend so much time talking about whether our loved one has changed, we don't realize how much we've changed ourselves. I'm not the same person I was before all of this either. Maybe I have boundaries now. Maybe I don't jump every time the phone rings. Maybe I don't fix everything anymore. Maybe I've learned how to say no. Maybe I've stopped explaining myself. Maybe I've built a life that isn't centered around someone else's addiction. Maybe I've found peace I didn't have before. And I don't want to give those things back just because you're doing better. That's important. Because sometimes when someone enters recovery, we think the goal is to get everything back to normal. But what was normal? Was normal actually healthy? Maybe I was overfunctioning. Maybe you were depending on me for things you needed to learn to do yourself. Maybe I was rescuing. Maybe we didn't communicate well long before addiction became the biggest problem in the room. Maybe there were things on both sides that needed to change. So I don't necessarily want the old relationship back. I want us to build something better. Maybe we have to meet each other again. I really love that idea. Recovery isn't about getting the old you back. You're not supposed to become exactly who you were before addiction. You've experienced things. You've learned things. You've survived things. You've grown. And so have I. So, we're both different now. We have to figure out who we are, what our relationship looks like, what you need from me, what I need from you, what works for us, and what doesn't. Those are completely different conversations, healthier ones. We have to let them become more than their recovery. The person we love is not only the person in recovery. They're still a whole person. They have interests,
dreams,
opinions, goals, talents, relationships, things that make them laugh, things they want to accomplish. Maybe they want to go back to school, build a career, repair relationships, become a better parent, travel, create something, help somebody else, or simply experience a peaceful life for the first time. Recovery is only part of their story. We have to allow them to have conversations that aren't about addiction. Every phone call doesn't have to be, "How's recovery?" Sometimes it can just be, "How are you?" There's a difference. Change means our relationship changes too. Recovery may change the person we love in ways we didn't expect. They may create boundaries with us. They might spend more time with people who support their recovery. Their routines change. They need space. They may begin saying no to us. They will start talking about things from the past that we've never discussed. They can become more independent. Some of those changes may feel uncomfortable, but if we're asking them to build a healthier life, we have to understand that sometimes their healthier life will require changes in our relationship too. Just like our healing required changes they had to learn to accept. That's part of letting each other change. There may also be people who haven't changed. This episode isn't about convincing ourselves someone has changed when they haven't. Some people may still be actively using. Some may still be lying. Some may still be manipulating. Some may repeatedly tell us they've changed while their behavior says otherwise. We don't have to ignore reality in the name of hope. We can love someone, believe they're capable of change, and still recognize that change isn't happening right now. That's where our boundaries stay. We're talking about making room for genuine change, not imagining change because we're desperate for it. There's a difference. To the person I love, if you're genuinely changing, I want to learn how to see you differently. That may take me some time. There may still be moments when fear gets there before logic does. There may be moments when something reminds me of the past. There may be moments when I question something that turns out to be completely innocent. I'm healing too. But I don't want to hold you hostage to the person you were forever. I don't want every mistake you make for the rest of your life to become evidence against you. I don't want to keep introducing the old you into every new chapter. When you're doing the work, I want to recognize it. And I want to give myself permission to enjoy it too. I need you to let me change too. I may not respond the way I used to. I may not rescue anymore. I may say no more often. I may not answer every crisis. I may need more space. I may protect routines and peace that I worked very hard to build. That doesn't mean I love you less. It means I changed too. And if we're going to build something healthier, neither one of us gets to demand that the other return to who they used to be just because that version was more comfortable for us. We have to allow each other the possibility of becoming someone new. I thank you for spending this time with me today. If this episode spoke to you, I hope you'll listen to part 2. Next, we're crossing the bridge and talking about what change feels like in recovery. To connect with me, please visit ChristinaFoxAuthor.com. From there, you can explore my books, listen to the podcast, read the blog, subscribe to my newsletter, and connect with me across all of my social media platforms. Until next time, protect your peace, choose healthy boundaries, and remember, we don't have to forget who someone was to make room for who they're becoming. And sometimes moving forward means meeting each other again as the people we are today.
Take care.
Bridging the Gap. Episode 13, Part 2. Through the Eyes of Recovery. Learning to let each other change. How do I become someone new when everyone still remembers the old me? Welcome back to Bridging the Gap. Understanding both sides. One goal, healing. I'm Christina Fox. In Part 1, we talked about learning to recognize change in the people we love, about letting go of the hypervigilance, allowing adults to make their own choices and even their own mistakes, and understanding that when recovery begins, both sides need room to change.
Now,
let's cross the bridge, because there's another side to this. What does it feel like when I know I'm changing, but the people around me still see the person I used to be? Sometimes I feel like I'm competing with my past. I can be doing well today, and still feel like I'm being measured against everything I did yesterday. Maybe I've been sober. I'm working. I'm showing up. I'm taking responsibility. I'm making better decisions. I'm trying to build something different. And then I make one mistake, and suddenly, see, nothing has changed. That can hurt, because sometimes I want to scream, I'm not that person anymore. But I can't decide when everyone else believes that. I know when something changed inside of me. They only know what they can see. And if they've heard, I'm different now. Before, my words may not mean very much yet. It's frustrating. I understand where it comes from. I can't spend my recovery convincing everyone I've changed. I will continue to work on me and let my change speak for itself. I don't need anyone's permission to become someone different. That in itself frees me. You see, some will recognize our growth. Some will celebrate it. Some may cautiously begin letting us back into their lives. Some may need more time. And some may never see us differently. I know that's hard, especially when it's someone we love. We may desperately want them to be proud of us, to see the difference, to trust us, and to believe in us again. Maybe one day they will. But what if they don't? Do I stop growing? Do I go back to using? Do I decide recovery wasn't worth it because somebody still sees the old me? Absolutely not. Not everyone stays, whether we did something wrong or not. Some people are seasonal. It's a part of life we must accept. My recovery cannot depend on anyone's opinion of me. I don't need permission from anyone to become healthier. I don't need everybody to believe in my future before I start building one. And I don't need to spend the rest of my life arguing with people about who I am. If I am working on me, and if they still choose not to see it, I keep going. They may come around, and they may not. They have to make those decisions for themselves. They get to heal at their pace, while I get to heal and recover at mine. I have to allow myself to change too. Sometimes it's not other people who keep us trapped in the past. Sometimes it's us. It seems that sometimes we can't let go of who we were either. Negative self-talk is one of the worst things people do to themselves every day, not just those who have been stuck in addiction. Introducing ourselves to ourselves as the person we were in addiction can be just as harmful as the addiction itself. I'm the screw-up. I'm the addict. I'm the one who ruins everything. I'm the one nobody can trust. This is just who I am. If I keep seeing myself that way, eventually I may start behaving like that's all I'm capable of being. Recovery gives me an opportunity to ask a different question. Who am I becoming? Not, how do I erase who I was? I can't. That person was only a chapter in my story. And the same is true for my recovery. Neither chapter defines who I am. I am allowed to have an ordinary life. Every accomplishment doesn't have to be measured by how long I've been sober. I am allowed to be tired, to change my mind, and make a mistake. None of those things automatically mean my recovery is falling apart. I'm still human. Recovery isn't about becoming perfect. It's about learning how to live. There may be people who are no longer healthy for me to be around, places I can't go, and situations that aren't healthy for me either. Maybe I'm learning to set boundaries for the first time. Maybe I'm no longer willing to be spoken to a certain way. Maybe I'm learning that some relationships were unhealthy even before my addiction. Maybe I'm learning how to say no. And the people around me may not always like the healthier version of me, especially if the old version of me was easier for them to control. Recovery doesn't mean I owe everyone access to me because I made mistakes in my past. I can take responsibility for what I've done and still decide what relationships are healthy for me now. But I also have to be honest with myself. Am I setting a healthy boundary? Only I can answer that honestly. My loved ones have changed too. This may be something I wasn't prepared for. I may get sober expecting everything to go back to the way it was. But while I was going through addiction, they were living too. Maybe because normal wasn't working. Maybe neither one of us needs the old relationship back. Maybe we're supposed to build something different. I have to learn who you are now too. We've talked a lot about wanting our loved ones to see who we're becoming. I have to see their growth too. I have to respect the boundaries they've learned. I have to understand that their life continued while mine was consumed by addiction. I may have missed things. Their priorities may have changed. They may have found peace they're not willing to give up. And that's okay. Maybe I need to meet them again too. I think that's the heart of this episode. Maybe we build something with healthier communication, better boundaries, more honesty, more independence, less rescuing, less hiding, more responsibility for ourselves, and room for both of us to have our own lives. That doesn't erase our history. It means we're not allowing history to write every chapter that comes next. I don't expect you to forget. I don't expect instant trust. And I don't expect you to pretend the past didn't happen. But I hope eventually you'll allow yourself to get to know me again. Ask me about something besides recovery.
Learn what I care about now.
See what makes me laugh now. See what I'm working toward. See how I handle life differently. Let me show you who I'm becoming. And I'll try to do the same for you. Because maybe neither one of us is who we remember. And that's not necessarily something to grieve. Maybe that's something to celebrate. If someone refuses to see me differently, I still keep going. I don't have to fight them. I don't have to convince them. I don't have to spend every conversation defending my growth. My life will speak.
My choices will speak.
My consistency will speak. And most importantly, I will know. I'll know what it took to get here. I'll know the decisions I'm making when nobody is watching. I'll know the things I've walked away from. I'll know the work I'm doing. And I'll know I'm not finished. Because changing isn't a destination either. We're all still becoming. And that's where we're going next. We're almost at the end of Bridging the Gap. We've spent this series looking at addiction and healing from both sides. Now there's one final piece. Rebuilding trust. Because once we allow each other to change, we have to decide what we're going to build with that change. And trust isn't rebuilt by pretending the past never happened. It's rebuilt by what happens next. Step by step. Choice by choice. Over time. That's where we'll meet for the final episode of Bridging the Gap. I thank you for spending this time with me today. To connect with me, please visit ChristinaFoxAuthor.com. From there, you can explore my books, listen to the podcast, read the blog, subscribe to my newsletter, and connect with me across all of my social media platforms. Until next time, take responsibility for your healing. Respect healthy boundaries. Give the people you love room to grow. And give yourself that same room. You don't have to erase the person you were to become someone you're proud of today.
Take care.